What if I told you that in 1887 a single man walked into 23 different saloons across the American West, challenged the deadliest gunfighters alive, and never once missed his target? Not once. And here's the part that'll keep you up at night. Every single man he killed died with a smile on his face, whispering the same final words about seeing people who weren't there. His name was Daniel Morrison, but folks called him Dead-Eye Dan. And what I'm about to tell you has been buried in government files for over a century. Because Dan Morrison wasn't just the fastest gun in the West. He was carrying bullets that shouldn't exist. Bullets that were cursed with something so dark that the U.S. government sent 20 federal marshals to kill him. All 20 marshals are dead. Morrison walked away without a scratch. And those bullets, they're still out there. Let me tell you a story that will change everything you think you know about justice, revenge, and what happens when the dead refuse to stay buried. It started in Silver Creek, Nevada, on a day so hot the air itself seemed to shimmer with malice. Morrison rode into town on a horse black as midnight, and the first thing people noticed wasn't his imposing 6-foot frame or his cold gray eyes. It was his gun belt. The bullets glowed with a pale blue light that made grown men cross themselves and mothers pull their children indoors. Now Silver Creek was a dying town. The silver had run out, hope had packed up and left, and the only people remaining were those too stubborn or too broke to start over somewhere else. But they were about to witness something that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. Jake, the Viper Carlson, was drinking in Murphy's saloon when Morrison walked in. Carlson had killed 11 men in fair duels, was wanted in 3 states, and had a draw so fast it looked like magic. He saw Morrison and figured here was some fancy stranger with deep pockets and a pretty gun ripe for the taking. He was wrong. Morrison looked at Carlson with those empty gray eyes and said just 4 words. "You killed those children." Carlson went white as a bedsheet, because 5 years earlier, he had sold ammunition to a group of raiders who massacred a Shoshone village. Women, children, elderly, everyone. Carlson had told himself it was just business, but those words hit him like a punch to the gut. "I don't know what you're talking about," Carlson lied, but his hand was already moving toward his gun. "They want you to see them," Morrison said, and those blue bullets started glowing brighter. All of them. The gunfight lasted 3 seconds. Carlson was fast, but Morrison was something else entirely. No one even saw him draw. One moment his hand was at his side, the next moment his gun was smoking, and Jake, the Viper Carlson, was on the ground with a perfect bullet hole through his heart. But here's the part that made everyone in that saloon question their sanity. Carlson didn't die screaming or in pain. He died with a smile on his face, and with his last breath he whispered, "I can see them. The children. They're not angry anymore." What kind of bullets grant peaceful death to killers while showing them their victims? Word spread fast across the frontier. In the next 12 months, Morrison challenged and killed 17 of the most feared gunfighters in the American West. Every single duel ended the same way. Perfect shot through the heart, peaceful smile, and those same whispered words about seeing their victims. But here's what the history books won't tell you. Morrison wasn't some vigilante with a death wish. He was a former U.S. cavalry officer who had stumbled onto something that the government had tried to hide, something that connected every one of his targets to the same horrific crime. 3 years before Morrison appeared in Silver Creek, a military unit had raided a sacred Paiute burial ground. They weren't looking for gold. They were following orders from Washington to recover what they called indigenous weapons technology. What they stole were 6 bullets carved from sacred blue stone, bullets that had been created by Paiute shamans to serve supernatural justice. According to the medicine man Walking Bear, these bullets were designed to grant peaceful death to those who had spilled innocent blood, but only after showing them the faces of everyone they had wronged. Morrison had been part of that raid, but when he touched those bullets, something changed. He started having visions of every innocent person killed by the men who would later face him in duels. The bullets had chosen him as their instrument of justice. Now here's where this story gets really dark. The federal government knew about Morrison. They knew about the bullets, and they knew that Morrison was working his way through a list of men who were all connected to government-sanctioned massacres of Native American tribes. If you think this sounds too crazy to be true, smash that like button right now. Because what happened next proves that sometimes the truth is stranger than any fiction Hollywood could dream up. The government sent 20 federal marshals to stop Morrison. 20 of the best-trained lawmen in America, led by Thomas Iron Hand McGrath, cornered Morrison in a town called Redemption, Arizona, in February 1888. The gunfight lasted 90 seconds. When the smoke cleared, all 20 marshals were dead, each with a perfect bullet wound through the heart, each wearing that same peaceful smile, each whispering about seeing them. But Morrison had only fired 6 shots. 6 bullets, 20 dead men. The bullets had split apart, finding multiple targets with supernatural accuracy, as if they could bend the laws of physics to serve justice. After Redemption, Morrison vanished. The government buried the story, erased his military records, and classified everything related to those blue bullets. But those bullets are still out there. In 1923, 6 bullets matching Morrison's description were found by a Nevada prospector. Within days, 6 corrupt politicians in Carson City died of sudden heart attacks, all with peaceful smiles on their faces. In 1954, the bullets surfaced again in Arizona. 6 former Nazi war criminals who had fled to America were found dead in their homes, all with that same expression of final peace. The pattern repeats every few decades. The bullets appear. Justice is served. Then they vanish again. Here's what should terrify you. Those bullets were last seen in 2019. A metal detector enthusiast in New Mexico posted photos of 6 unusual blue bullets on social media before his account was mysteriously deleted and he disappeared entirely. That was 6 years ago. If the pattern holds, those bullets have already chosen their next bearer. Someone who might be walking among us right now, carrying out Morrison's mission of supernatural justice. And in a world where the powerful seem untouchable, where corruption runs deep and justice feels impossible, maybe that's exactly what we need. Maybe Dead-Eyed Dan Morrison's work isn't finished. Maybe it's just getting started. So the next time you see a news report about an impossible death, about someone powerful dying with a smile on their face while whispering about seeing people who weren't there, remember where you heard it first. Remember the story of the gunslinger who never missed. Because some legends never really die, they just wait for the right moment to return. Thanks for watching Old Western Legends. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and subscribe for more buried truths from America's frontier. Hit that notification bell because next week, I'm revealing the secret of the ghost town that still collects rent from the living. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.